Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time of the day you're tuning into this video. Thank you so much for joining us on this third edition of our series that we're doing on uncomfortable conversations. As we know, this is Papa Bear. We talk about things to do with fatherhood, and we've been having conversation over the last two sessions about a very uncomfortable topic, that is the topic of death. And in the first video, we just talked broadly about what it means and how it affects people. We went a bit more practical in the second session, talking about some of the tangible things that we can do around succession when death happens. And in this third video, we want to talk a bit more about another element of this whole part of this whole issue, which is around the issue of relationships. Now, when somebody passes on, there's usually a whole web of relationships that they have in their lives, which hold their lives together. And these relationships often affect them directly and also affect their family, and most importantly, their spouse and their children. Now, for us as dads, that's very critical because those relationships can easily be disrupted because of your death, or the relationships can actually be disruptive to your family as a result of your death. We hear it all the time when somebody passes on and then some random relatives from up country come and they want to take over things and they want to do their own thing, or they want to sort of depossess or disinherit your spouse or your children. We've heard of children who've grown up destitute because when their father passed on, the relatives came and took everything. And that's all part of the whole dynamic around relationships. So the question I want to ask us as men is, what is the status of your relationships with the people around you? That web of that network that is around you. What is the condition of that network, and how will it affect your family should you pass on, right? And you want to make sure that you're trying to build as many bridges as possible. Build bridges, tear down the walls. Try and find a way to get along with these relatives. Or if you feel that they're going to be a problem for your family when you pass on, then find a way to block them. Find a way to ensure that they cannot be a disruption for your family's well-being after you pass on. It's hard enough for them to deal with your absence. Them having to deal with relationships that have gone badly is even worse. So just safeguard your family in that way. And where possible, you want to try and mend those relationships and make sure that they're working as well as possible. Some of those relationships also extend to the work that you're doing and the things that you've been engaged in. Does your family know what you do for a living? Do they know what what kind of people you have? There are things that you take care of, and you know how to deal with them because that's what you do. That's what you do. As a dad, that's what you do. But if you pass on, will your family be able to deal with those things? Will they be able to take care of those relationships? Maybe there is a business connection that you've been working with that has been providing you with resources or helping you in some way. If you pass on, can that relationship be passed on to your family and to your children and to your spouse? You need to think about these things, because if you don't, then when you leave, you end up leaving everybody in a bind because nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows how to deal with that issue. It was always dad who was dealing with that issue. Nobody knows how that matter was handled. Nobody knows where the garage, the mechanic is. Nobody knows where the landlord, how the landlord bills were paid. People don't know anything because you've been holding all the cards to your chest. So I want to encourage us to pass on some of these relationships. Right? First of all, ensure that the relationships that are in place are solid and are secure and are positive for the sake of your family should you pass on. And secondly, those connections and those things that you do as a man, as a dad, that you're responsible for, ensure that you're delegating or passing on these relationships to your family so that should you pass on, these things don't become a problem for them. They will know exactly what to do, in different situations. So yeah, that's like the third installment in our series about death and about this very taboo subject that we don't like to talk about. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments, please hit me up in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's hear what you think about some of the things we're talking about. Like the video, share the video, have these conversations with other people. And more importantly, you as a dad, put in place what you need to put in place to ensure that your family is not left in a bad place should you pass on. We need to think about these things, guys. I mean, you think of death as something that will happen 40 years from now. It could happen tomorrow, and you need to be prepared. So take the time, make sure that your family is sorted out. Yeah. Thanks for your time. Cheers.